Hi, everyone. Hello, Natural Heart Doctor community. Happy Thursday to you all. Coach Ashley here. So back in February during Heart Month, you guys may have joined on, but I went live discussing the paleo diet, what it is, why we advocate for it. Well, today we're going to dive a little deeper and really learn about the heart health benefits to going paleo. I'm going to give you 6 specific reasons why going paleo is good for your heart. And you'll see that today's video is a recording as I'm working in our new office location this week and today seeing patients. So because this is a recording, just be sure to ask any questions or post any relevant items in the comments section so that both myself and the other coaches can address them for you. But it's pretty widely known that conventional doctors, they don't know about nutrition, but they specifically don't know about the best nutrition for the heart. And in fact, they often find it irrelevant. They'll say, diet doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. So instead, they really give out these kind of general guidelines that both the medical community and the 3-letter agencies deem heart healthy. The issue with this is that it's actually making people sicker and increasing the rates of cardiovascular disease. Now, again, those traditional grain-based, whole grain, carb-heavy, heart-healthy diet recommendations that are given by these conventional doctors, they work to replace key things that your heart needs. So they work to replace dietary saturated fat, dietary cholesterol, really good meat, eggs. They replace those vital things with carbohydrates. And they also tell you to kind of eat low fat. And this has been now shown and established in the research that it worsens cardiac risk factors, which we, at Natural Heart Doctor already know, but it worsens cholesterol. It makes blood sugar worse. It causes blood pressure to go up and it boosts inflammation. So it raises inflammation in the body. We at Natural Heart Doctor have done our research, and so this is why we're always recommending to patients and clients that jumping on the grain-free, ancestral-driven diet like the paleo diet is absolutely essential to the 100-year heart. It prevents and aids in addressing cardiovascular problems, and it fixes a lot of these root cause issues. So I'll explain on the next few slides why going paleo is so heart healthy. And before we dive into all the evidence for why the paleo diet is heart healthy, I just want to refresh you all on what paleo even is. Again, if you're familiar with it or you've already watched my previous live, then you'll know what the paleo diet is. But for those of you that are new to it, this is our Paleo Pyramid. Now, the paleo diet is it's an evolutionary-based diet. So it's following this notion that our evolutionary biology has not changed much since our ancestors were hunter-gatherers. Therefore, we have to focus on this ancestral way of eating if we want to be healthy. We have to, consume these foods that we could primarily hunt or gather. Whole, paleo types of foods that are depicted here on the pyramid, while also avoiding processed foods. And that's really the key, I think, for the paleo diet for most people. Why they get so healthy too is that they are avoiding these processed foods that are bad for us, that are rich in carbohydrates, and that also have a lot of man-made chemicals and toxins inherently within them. Essentially, as you can see here, the paleo diet focuses on getting your carbohydrates from vegetables. Living cellular carbohydrates provide all of your sustenance in the form of producing glucose, all that. But also, as you move up the pyramid, you'll see we have a heavy focus on quality protein. So when I say quality protein, that grass-fed, grass-finished meat, pasture-raised poultry, really quality eggs that are pasture-raised as well, and then wild-caught seafood. So we love meat for the heart. We also focus on an abundance of healthy fats, as you'll see. We like animal fats of all types, coconut fat, avocado fat, and olive fat. And then we have nuts and seeds and fresh fruit that's local and in season. That's really our kind of, main quick sugar source. But again, what wasn't available to our ancient ancestors was processed foods. This includes no cereals, grains, refined sugars. We're essentially omitting packaged food, processed foods, A lot of the agriculturally driven foods that were created during that time period is what we're getting rid of, because these are inflammatory and not essential to heart health, in fact detrimental. So essentially, when we talk about the paleo diet, we focus on these principles. We have this overall kind of theme or goals that we work to address, and it's back to the basics with the paleo approach. So I'm going to show you kind of these subsequent slides, the argument for why paleo diet is so heart healthy. The first heart health benefit of the paleo diet is that it is one of the most anti-inflammatory eating plans to follow. And the research done by a lot of the scientific community actually validates this. Many studies, just like this one on the screen, have shown that the paleo diet overall is linked to lower levels of inflammation and oxidative stress. And they've even shown that it lowers specific markers of inflammation like hsCRP, or high sensitivity CRP, which is something that we test for in our patients. When it comes to any cardiac condition, the first thing that we always want to do is lower inflammation in the cells. Okay, so inflammation, we know, is a toxin to blood vessels and it damages them. And we know that if blood vessels are damaged, then dysfunction results. And conditions like AFib, high blood pressure, and an accumulation of plaque can result. The second heart health benefit to going paleo is that it improves your cholesterol profile. And this is a big one. I think a lot of people, again, are always worried about eating meat and eating animal fat and eating things like butter. But if they come from quality sources, they are going to be transformational to your cholesterol. So this is kind of like, it focuses on what Dr. Wolfson often talks about, which is, what is your ideal caveman cholesterol? We need cholesterol, our cells need cholesterol to be healthy and functioning. If we're deficient in cholesterol, then we are sick beings. So we want cholesterol, we just want the good type. We want the large, fluffy type. We want to avoid the harmful types like the small, dense, oxidized types. So on the screen here, we have a study that was conducted in 2015 that analyzed the effects of a paleo diet versus a traditional heart-healthy grain-based diet promoted by the American Heart Association. So really interesting study. The authors found that compared to the traditional diet recommended by the AHA, the paleo diet was more effective in significantly lowering total cholesterol, LDL, triglycerides, while also increasing HDL, which is that, quote, good cholesterol. And again, you know, we know that these may be more outdated markers of cholesterol, but there's still good targets to follow. And if we know that, then we also know that going low carb, eating these whole foods, eating from a paleo standpoint actually improves even more specific things. We've had this experience in our clinic, but it improves LDL particle number. It improves ApoB. It improves that genetic marker like LP(a). We know the science validates it that the driver of bad cholesterol is sugar and refined carbohydrates. If you cut them out, you improve cholesterol. The third beneficial impact of the paleo diet on the heart is shown here, and it's that it reduces two major risk factors for cardiovascular disease: high blood sugar and high insulin. In excess, high blood sugar and high insulin, they essentially wreak havoc on the blood vessel lining, and they contribute to, just as I said, bad cholesterol. They drive up inflammation, and they propel plaque formation. So they're big drivers of those things. In the research, they've even linked insulin resistance, or kind of that pre-diabetic state, to the onset of AFib and high blood pressure. Overall, the science shows that impaired fasting glucose and insulin levels, basically meaning your body's in balance with how it's handling these things, are linked to a high risk of vascular disease. So if you want to prevent cardiac issues, you have to address your metabolic health. And that's where the paleo diet comes in. So there was a very recent 2021 meta-analysis that looked at both the short-term and the long-term effects of the paleo diet on health. It was a pretty novel study. They compared the paleo diet to other diets, and they found that in the long term, it was only the paleo diet that lowered and then kept those levels low of the fasting plasma glucose and insulin. Overall, the review study also showed very positive impacts of the paleo diet on other measures like the HbA1c, which looks at your blood sugar over 3-month span, and they showed and linked it to a reduced incidence of insulin resistance. So this was a pretty profound study showing major impacts on blood sugar. Again, it makes sense, and it's what we see in our office too. The fourth benefit to going paleo is that it strengthens your heart cells. And if you've ever taken any of our programs like the AFib program or the Happy Heart Diet program, you've heard us speak a lot about this concept. It's essentially that at the heart of any cardiovascular condition, there's cellular dysfunction. The cells don't function properly, they're low in energy or ATP, and overall they're very, very weak. And this is especially true in the hallmark condition, cardiomyopathy, which literally translates to a weak heart muscle. It's the very definition of cells that are too weak to function. So when it comes to the 100-year heart, we want strong heart cells. That's what we need. But to get these strong heart cells, they need vital nutrients, all of which happen to be abundant on a paleo diet. So the key heart strengthening nutrients are listed on the screen. Those include things like D-ribose, acetyl L-carnitine, coenzyme Q10, choline, and saturated fat. These nutrients are the most abundant in red meat, specifically in organ meat, and in animal fat and eggs. All the things that the mainstream probably told you to avoid are absolutely essential to strong heart cells. And these nutrients do serve a lot of roles, like I alluded to. They help your cells produce energy. They actually strengthen kind of the protective membrane or barrier that sits around your cells. And you want that because you want to make sure that your membranes are thick and strong around your cells, specifically your heart cells, because if that happens, it protects your heart cells from invasion of things like heavy metals, environmental toxins, mold toxins, and even radiation like 5G. So this, kind of has been proven, like I said, it's been elucidated. And here on the screen, there is a study from 2012. It was titled Dietary Fat and Heart Failure, Moving from Lipotoxicity to Lipoprotection. So essentially showing that, in this research, a high-fat diet is actually protective against heart failure. Essentially it's key, they say, to treatment as well. It showed that in many cases of heart failure, simply replacing the refined carbs with quality dietary fat reduces a lot of the dysfunction that occurs with cardiomyopathy. The fifth benefit of going on a paleo diet is that it works to optimize your overall blood pressure. For most of the time, blood pressure is really a byproduct of the westernized world. It's often considered kind of this metabolic disorder, meaning diet, lifestyle, those are key culprits. If you look at, some of the tribes around the world that are really hunter-gatherers still and still kind of exist in this state of an ancestrally driven diet, they don't have these things like high blood pressure or high blood sugar or systemic inflammation. It's absent in those cultures. So it really makes sense, why the paleo diet has been shown to help with blood pressure. Specifically, a lot of the research has shown that it helps with both systolic and diastolic blood pressure readings. There's a lot of mechanisms for why the paleo diet would improve your blood pressure, but the first is simply that it's anti-inflammatory. You want to bring down inflammation when it comes to blood pressure. The second is that it's really abundant, probably one of the diet's most abundant in the mineral potassium, which is a mineral that's needed for regulating blood pressure. And that's because potassium is abundant in your living foods, so vegetables and fruits, it's abundant in that. They've also shown that with the paleo diet, essentially because it's a whole foods-based diet, you have kind of this ideal potassium to sodium ratio that your cells thrive on. They've also shown that the paleo diet improves your endothelial function, which again is going to be key for optimal blood pressure. If your blood vessels can relax and contract at the right time and the right rate, then we've got a good blood pressure as a result. So this is a very profound kind of dietary treatment for anybody with blood pressure, and kind of the first place to start is you've got to clean up your diet and get on that kind of whole foods based diet. So last but not least, the paleo diet is essential to a healthy heart rhythm. And again, anyone with AFib, palpitations, PVCs, SVTs would benefit from going paleo. It's something that we transition our patients to, like I said earlier. The first reason why the paleo diet is so essential for heart rhythm, again, comes down to inflammation. We know that inflammation drives arrhythmias. And so you have to first get out the inflammation. You have to get on a healthy diet. You can't eat whole grains. You can't eat sugar. You can't eat cakes and cupcakes and expect your arrhythmia to get better. You've got to cut out the culprits in your diet and then jump on kind of a healing diet, which again would be this. Secondly, as we teach a lot of times in our AFib program and our other coaching programs, we have one launching this fall for AFib, but the paleo diet has this really high nutrient density that you really can't get from a lot of other diets. Again, it's because of what you're eating, but this high nutrient diet or high nutrient density that you get from the diet is meaning that you're getting these foods that had the highest amount of nutrients and also are the most bioavailable to your cells, meaning your cells can absorb them and then use them readily. So that's really your red meat and your organ meat. Those things are absolutely essential for providing these rich, nutrient-rich kind of foods. But overall, we think about nutrients that regulate heart rhythm, that help the heart out. It's a lot of those nutrients I said that strengthen the heart, like CoQ10, D-ribose, acetyl L-carnitine. But then it's also minerals, potassium, magnesium, minerals for heart rhythm. It's essential omega-3 fatty acids that drive down inflammation. It's saturated fat that works to stabilize those cells and makes them strong. And then again, CoQ10, which strengthens the cells, but has also shown to help regulate heart rhythm. So if you're interested in the paleo diet, or if you're new to this, or maybe you're just wondering how to best optimize the paleo diet for your heart health condition, or any health condition you've got going on, then I wanted to throw in kind of this offering, this exclusive program that we've recently launched and had a lot of great reviews on, but it's called our Foundational Nutrition Program. And it's, again, like I said, a new program that we've recently launched, but we have a new session that's launching in April. So this is a 30-day program that we've designed to customize nutrition to your body and to your physiological needs. And that's the key, because we know that nutrition is bio-individual. So yes, we're going to advocate for this paleo diet that's good for all cardiac patients, but depending on what you've got going on, if you have AFib, if you have high blood pressure, if you've got diabetes, you're going to have to focus on certain foods and nutrients to optimize your health. So this is a 4-week program with proven results, and I've included kind of, what each week focuses on in these boxes in the gray, just so you can see. We have week 1 where we work on goal setting. We get that approved recipe guide, a really good meal guide, approved food list, and the top 10 natural heart doctor tips for success. We, in week 2, do a really deep dive into paleo nutrition, what it entails. We provide personal supplement recommendations, daily nutrition protocols, and really kind of like top tips to save time in the kitchen, because when it comes to the paleo diet, we're having to step back into the kitchen, cook our meals, prep food, all that. In week 3, we dive into gut health, which is a big one, because we know gut health is at the root of a lot of these cardiovascular disorders. And also we want to make sure that you are properly digesting and assimilating those nutrients for their function in the body. So we have to absolutely address gut health and highlight kind of the importance of a functioning gut. We talk about how to best optimize your nutrition and how to obtain those nutrients, and then kind of best supplements for gut health if you are suffering from any digestive disorders. Last but not least, in week 4, it's a good one. We're kind of rounding out all of our time together, but we do a lot of journaling. We discuss root cause testing that could be applicable to you, and then we provide a lot of lifestyle tips and resources going forward. So if you're interested in this program, we're going to also post a link to it in the comments section. If you have any questions on it, reach out or post anything that you'd like us to answer regarding this program specifically. And last but not least, if you have any questions based on today's topic or anything relevant to heart health and the paleo diet, post away in the comments section. Like I said, I'll be in there. The other coaches will as well. And we just want to help you all. So I hope you guys all have a really good Thursday. And I hope to see some of you in the Foundational Nutrition program.